Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm here to show you a rather unique bracelet. Yes, I do mean for all these bands to be out here. Anyways, rather unique bracelet, and I guess, set. It's earrings, a ring, and a bracelet. Made with my little lolly rounds here. So here's the bracelet version. Here's the ring version. And here are the earrings. And I think the earrings turned out a lot cuter than I thought they would be. They aren't like weird or clunky when you wear them either. But anyways, these things are rather unique because in the middle, instead of a standard band, there's a little jump ring. Because you have to like open and close the jump ring to strand all these bands onto the jump ring. So the technique is a little tricky, but once you get used to it, I think that you can, be rather decent at it, and it shouldn't be too hard for you. But about the jump rings, I'm going to start off the video with this. Jump rings can be found at any craft store, basically, like every single craft store, guaranteed. They wouldn't be called a craft store unless they had, jump rings. And you want your jump rings, to be about the size of a normal cap band when you cap a rainbow loom band. Or at least a little bigger than that would be easier too. Or if you have an alpha loom band, it should be the size of around an alpha loom band. But the phone's ringing. Anyways, it should be about the same size or a little bigger. If you can get it a tiny bit bigger, it'll be easier to use if it's a little bigger. But yeah, that's just, some basic information about little tiny jump rings. But to start off your little round, what you're going to do is you're going to find this little gapped area where the two pieces of metal meet, and you're just going to take your fingers, or if you have them, you can get jewelry pliers, which are these little pliers right here. You can also find it like any craft store. You can either have rosary pliers or these pliers. I don't know what these are called though, but either one will work well. And you just open it up. But like I said, you can do this with your fingers if you don't want to spend money on pliers, but if you already have them, it'll make it a little bit easier. I feel like I'm babbling, I just want to get all this information. But you're going to twist it open, and when you do this, you don't want to pull it open like this way, you want to twist it this way. It's very important that you do it that way, or else it's harder to completely close later and your little round might fall apart. So when you do this, you also want to make sure that while you're looking at it open, when these two pieces come together, you want them to be really close together. Again, so that your little tiny rounds don't fall apart. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So as you can see, once closed back, they join up pretty closely and be pretty tight. And you can open it this far, you can open it a little farther, whatever you want. This amount works for me. And after you do that, you can just set your little jump ring aside, and then you can start working on your round. So for your round, you're going to need 16 white bands for the background, and 16 bands for these little dots that you have. And to start off, and also you're going to need 7 clips to help you work through it. So to start off, you're just going to take your white band, and you're going to just put one of your C-clips on it. And then you're going to pick up one of your dot bands, and you're going to twist it. You might have seen me do this earlier in other videos. Twist it so that when you put it on your hook, you have 3 little loops on your hook. You can also do it, I'm not actually using this band, I'm just demonstrating it with it. You can also do it like this, but I prefer the other way, that way the band's untwisted, which is really important when you have dual layered bands like I used in these earlier ones. I should probably scoot these out of the way so they aren't annoying you. But anyways, then you're going to pick up another white band, and you're going to place the first white band over your little dot color, like this, so that the dot's in the middle. You're just going to put this other white band on your hook like usual. And then you're going to pull this triple cap band onto these two bands. I like to do it one at a time because it's easiest for me. And then, before you put this other half back on your hook, you're going to take your next color. I like to go in rainbow order for this part, even though you don't have to. You can just do it randomly. And again, I'm going to twist this in the same manner. Put this other white back on. And then take your next white. Pull these three pieces of the band over. And again, before you put this on, you're going to do a different step. You're going to take another white band, pull it through these four bands here. You should notice them that they're kind of stuck together or paired together. And while you're doing this, make sure that this band doesn't come out. Like that. And then you're going to take one of your clips and clip these two bands that these two halves of a band that you just pulled on. Take that off, and you can also take this piece off since it's clipped. And next, you are going to take your next color, again triple loop it onto your hook. Sorry, my hands are all gross, crafter's hands, I guess. Then you can put this white back on. And then you can take another white again, put it on your hook like this, and then pull triple cap band onto these two white bands. And again, before you place this other half of your white band on, just going to triple cap your next color, put this on along with a new white band, and then pull the triple cap band over. And again, before putting the other half on your hook, you pull a white through these two pairs. And then, of course, clip this band that you just pulled through. And it's an alternating pattern. You pull a band through these four bands right here, and then you put another band on, and etc. You just keep repeating that pattern until you are done with your first 12 bands. Since you're using 6 right now, I've got 4 down, and this is my 5th, and the next one will be my 6th. And then I'll do another 6 in the same technique that I'm working on right now, and these last 6 will be for the inner center part of your round. So I'm just going to keep going, demonstrating the same steps that I've been showing so far. If you need to, you can rewind and have more explanation, but I don't think it's worth going off camera for, so I'm just going to do the rest on camera. And as you can see right here, you have 2 bands on your hook, so you can't pull a white band through 4 bands yet because you don't have 4 bands. So now you know to add another colored dot band. Put this white on, and then grab a new white. Pull this triple cap band over the 2 whites. And now, since you do have 4 bands on your hook, remember this one's hanging off, and just remember not to let it go or anything like that. And you can pull this new white through these 4 that are on your hook, and of course, clip it. Now you grab another color, triple cap it on. By the way, you're halfway there, so you can see with my band organization down there. Put the old white back on, along with the new white. Pull the triple cap band over. Then you take your next color, since you don't have 4 on your hook. Triple cap it on. put this old white on along with a new white. And again, take a new white since you now have 4 bands on your hook, and pull it through. And of course, clip it. I think I'll just stop explaining right now. I'm assuming you'll probably already get it. And the last color that you loop on, there's going to be a different procedure, so be sure to pay attention when I talk about that. So how has you guys' summer been? Tell me in the comments below. My summer's been pretty eventful. I got to meet June. I already went to visit my grandparents, yes, plural grandparents, in 2 different states, which was pretty fun. We were on the road for both of them. But yeah, and I was also in that art fair that I talked about on Instagram, where I sold my Rainbow Loom stuff on Snake Valley in Burlington, Iowa. That's where I was. It was pretty fun, and I actually sold a pretty good amount of stuff. And I also referred people to my YouTube channel, because a bunch of people were like, oh, my kids love looming. And I was like, okay, visit my YouTube then. So yeah, that was kind of fun. I sold mostly loom bracelets, but I also sold almost all of my friendship bracelets that I brought with me. And I sold like 2 necklaces, 2 polymer clay necklaces. That was weird. Anyways, 2 polymer clay necklaces that I show on my Instagram and are on, well, I'm not sure if I have any on my Etsy right now, but I might be adding some soon. But yeah, that was pretty fun, and meeting Shun was amazing. It was so great to meet him. And the Learning Express where I met him had so many bands. It was like band heaven. Just like, they had this new solar bands, it was cool. Anyways, now that I'm at the end here and I've got my last band for the outer edge of my round, if it looks pretty bad, then it's okay. You'll fix that later. Going to put it on in the normal manner, again, triple capped band, right before you put your old white band on. Again, put that old white band on. But instead of adding a new band, you're going to find this one little loopy thing at the end that's really loose, that has a C-clip just kind of hanging on it. And when you put this on your hook, you gotta be really careful, because these little white segments right here that connect your pairs, you don't want those to be twisted. You want them to remain straight, which is really important so that your round looks good. So what you're going to do is you're just going to straighten out this whole row and make sure that nothing's twisted like this. This is what a twisted one looks like. Make sure everything is perfectly straight and untwisted. And then you're just going to bring this up and over to your hook. Unclip it at this moment. And then you can pull that triple cap band on. And again, now that you have 2 pairs on your hook, 4 bands, you can just pull this white straight through it and clip as normal. Now you have this sort of like star thingy. Again, right now you can double check, make sure nothing is twisted or weird looking. Then you know you did it right. And now you're going to add your inner circle of dots. Right now you have these white bands in position, you're just going to add these little dots to them. So, for that step, since I have a bunch in the background, a bunch of little rounds already made to demonstrate how to make the various jewelry items over there, I'm going to reference this one as I make this certain round right now, because if you're making a bunch of them for like earrings and the bracelet and everything, I like to make mine identical so that they're even and they look good and everything. So again, as you can see in these little ring thingies, that all these little dots are in the same color organization. So I'm just going to keep this one up here with me to reference it as I make this new one right here. So I like to start off with the first color, which is pink. First color in my little color array right here. So that's pink. And I note the two little dots right above it. So there's one that's purple off to the left and one that's pink off to the right. So in the middle of that, like I said, is the pink. So on here, I've found one of the purples off to the left and a pink on to the right. And there is another point that this is on here, so I could start here if I wanted to. But again, make sure these are in the same correct positions. Just going to pinch where they are, whoops, right now. And again, make sure it's not twisted underneath. Then I'm going to find that pink. Going to triple cap it on my hook, which is what I'm doing right before I add it. And again, I note where it would go, right in the middle of these two. So you're going to string the pink onto these two white bands right in the middle here. So you're going to unclip the rightmost of those, and then put that on your hook. Then you're going to find the one right here, which is the other one you're stringing the pink onto for the center. So it's in the center of these two bands. Just unclip half of it so that there's still a C-clip on the other half. And then since there are two on your hook now, you can just pull this little pink over. And instead of looping on another white, you're just going to clip it right here. And now, I'm going to reference my other one again. You have your pink right in between the purple and the pink where I wanted it. And the next color in my sequence is red. So I'm going to make sure that the red band I add is off to the right of the pink, since that's where it is in this ring. So I'm going to scoot over here. Again, unclip this band here since it's one of the bands I'll be stringing the red onto. But I gotta triple cap the red on my hook before that. And then I can put that on my hook. And again, make sure it's untwisted underneath. And then when you pick up this other band right here, you're going to want to sort of stretch it out. Make sure that it's not twisted in the band right here before you put it on your hook. And it's not, so I'm just going to put this on my hook and unclip it. And then I can pull my red onto these two white bands. And I can just clip the two white bands that I just pulled the red onto. Like that. And I'm just going to keep moving right and finding this pair that's clipped and the one band that's just clipped by a clip. It's not in a pair. And right here, I'm going to be adding the next color in my sequence, gold. So you don't really have to look at your old rounds at this point as much. You can just like, you put it where, bleh. You can just put it based on where these other colors are. So of course, pink, then red, and then gold. So again, same step as before. I'm going to twist it and then triple cap it. And you can unclip this half and then find your other half. And of course, stretch it out a little bit. Make sure that nothing is twisted. Put this other half on and unclip it. And then of course pull the triple cap band over and then reclip it. Moving on to the right again, taking my next color, twisting and capping, making sure that the double band is on the right and I unclip this half of it. And then I can put that on my hook. And then the other half should be unclipped. Again, make sure, forgot to remind you for this for the last one, make sure this isn't twisted on the bottom. Stretch it out a little bit, make sure nothing's twisted in this band in the back here. And then you can put it on. And then pull your cap band over and clip it. Now I have two left. Again, moving on to the right. Triple capping. I don't think I really have to explain much at this point. Again, make sure it's untwisted. But anyways, needless to say, my summer has been pretty fun. And later I am visiting Iowa again. This time I won't be like in any art fairs or anything, it's just to visit my grandma. But yeah, that'll be more of less like a business trip, I guess. Am I going on business trips? Is that insane or what? But anyways, this one will be just like a quick little visit because my mom had vouchers that she wanted to use, flight vouchers. But yeah, it'll be pretty fun. Maybe I can take a picture at Snake Alley where my art fair was, and then submit it to Rainbow Loom's hashtag Rainbow Loom Travel or something along the lines of that. But yeah. Anyways, now that I'm at the end here, it's slightly different because instead of a pair on the right and a single on the left, they're both singles. Although this doesn't really matter, you just gotta make sure that the right one is untwisted as well as the left one. And then of course this underneath band right here is also untwisted. And then you can just pull this cap band over just like you did earlier and clip it. Alright, now after you do all this, it should look like some sort of weird little crown thingy with 6 points and all that. But yeah, this turns into this. So this next part you gotta pay close attention to. Just going to tilt my tripod maybe a little bit so that it's easier to look at. But anyways, now what you're going to do is you're going to put all of these bands that are C-clipped right now onto this one jump ring that you untwisted earlier. So to do this, it's kind of tricky. You just gotta like make sure that no bands fall off of it. But you're going to start any one of these points. Just going to go over here. And you're going to take one of your metal ends of this jump ring. You're just going to pull it through these two bands right here. And then you can unclip them while you're at it. So you got something like this. And then you're going to move on to the left or the right, whichever one you want. And then you're just going to also thread this pair on as well. And of course you can unclip it too. You only want to unclip it as long as you know that it's securely on the cap band. I mean the jump ring. That's what it's called. I keep calling it a cap band, I think, by mistake. It really does substitute for a cap band. Then you're going to thread these two white bands onto your jump ring. And again, keep going, threading more bands onto your jump ring. And you only want to thread the white ones on. Make sure that you get both of them as well. Don't want to thread any colored dot colors on. That's not what you're supposed to do. And after 4, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. I'm just using my fingers to scoot these back on the the jump ring. So it's the same process yet again. It's just got to be really careful, make sure that all these stay on the jump ring and none of them fall off. This is taking immense concentration. You know when I'm not talking, I'm concentrating. I think unclipping the band makes it a little bit easier to manage on the jump ring. That's why I'm unclipping it every time. Although you don't have to. You can unclip them all after you fasten your jump ring. Alright, now on to the last one. So scared that you guys are going to have trouble with this. I mean, I'm having trouble with it. Alright. Now the last one I don't unclip because it's so close to the end. And you can just use your fingers again to close them. Close the jump ring in the same manner that you opened it. And as you can see, there's a slight gap, so I'm just going to cheat right now. Use my pliers. You can always use your fingers to close it up a little more. And when you use your pliers, if you're using pliers, you want to make sure that you don't like grip any of the bands with your pliers because it weakens the bands. So yeah, I just use pliers in one hand, fingers in another. And just close it up. And now it's even tighter, and I know that none of the bands will come off. Alright, sorry about that. My camera automatically stops me after, so many minutes. I don't know why it does that. Anyways, now that I've fastened this up, all my bands are safely and securely on the jump ring. And this one clips here from the end, so I'm just going to unclip it. And boom! There you go, you have a round. And you'll notice that one side kind of like bends in. One side kind of pokes out. So I'm just going to compare this to my other one based on band position and everything, and they do look identical, so I think I did a pretty decent job with that. But one scenario is that like this end could be poking in, and the other side is slightly different. Like as you can see, the pink is on the left and the purple is on the right, but on this one it's the other way around. So in this case you just kind of push it in and then flip it over. I just like to have one side poke out more than the other. Have it be the same for all of your little rounds, because it's just easier and nicer looking when you make it into whatever you decide to make it into. But anyways, off camera, since as you can see it took me a while, especially while explaining it, to make these little rounds, off camera I made 6 more to go with the one that I made on camera today. So that equates to 7 rounds, which is how many I use for a jewelry set. For my bracelet, I used 4 rounds, but if your wrist is a little smaller or larger than me, you may have to give or take a round. But I'd say 4 fits, pretty much everyone pretty well. And for the earrings, of course, obviously you're going to need 2 rounds, 1 for each ear. And the ring, of course, you're going to need 1 round. So I'm going to be showing you how to make all of these little appendages today. I need to go off camera really quick because I forgot to get bands for the ring, so give me 2 seconds and I will be back. Alright, I'm back after grabbing the necessary stuff that I needed. So to start off, I will be showing you how to make the ring. So let me just take these other 6 off camera for now. Sorry, I just ate a bite of like some seeds. Anyways, here's one of my rounds for the ring. Again, I'm having the same side poke out as normal, which is the side where when you're looking at this trio right here, the purple is on the left. Just double checking with those other ones over there. But anyways, on to important stuff. Now, when you're making your ring, oops, my dad's home. He came with dinner. Yes, Mom and I are starving. Gosh, why can't I not deviate from the subject. Anyways, so when you're looking at your little circle, round thing, whatever you want to call it, you're going to notice that in the middle, there's, your jump ring, and then of course 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, 3 little pairs, if you're holding it the way that I am. You don't want to hold it like this, you want to hold it like this with your reference colors that you're referencing on the top. And then you're just going to put your hook into the bottom, pull it through here, pull it through here like that. And this is on the right side for the right half of your ring that you're making. And again, you want 3 to be on the top, 3 to be on the bottom. And then you're just going to take 4 bands, which is how many bands that I use for my rings. You can give or take a few, but depending on how big your finger is. Mine's pretty skinny, but I like my ring sort of loose. So, I'm just going to pull away through this jump ring, and I'm going to do a normal single chain, adding on 3 more. Hi, Dad.
Your custard.
Thank you.
Your hamburger.
Thank you.
Your fries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyways, just going to loop on some white bands, so they have a total of 4 white bands on this half. And then I'm going to take one of my clips that I'm using for this ring and clip this. And then I'm just going to look at it on the top again, and I'm going to find the other half of the jump ring on the other side that's completely opposite to the one we just did, and you're going to put your hook into that side. So you're going to skip 3 on the top, then put it in the same way so that there are 3 pairs on the top, 3 on the bottom, and then I'm going to loop on my other half of my ring. So again, I loop on 4 bands for each half. Just going to do that. And then I'm going to make sure that my halves aren't twisted. Just going to bring my clip to the other side and clip the other end. And then you have a fancy pants ring. So there's my first piece of the set that I've made for this particular set. Next, I'm going to show you how to make the bracelet, which is pretty much the easiest one, I'd say. So it's really simple. All you're doing is clipping together 4 rounds. So all you're going to do is grab 4 rounds, and you're going to grab 4 clips, which can be either colored large C-clips or small C-clips, or large clear C-clips, whatever you want to use. It doesn't really matter for this type of design. It's just a simple way of clipping, attaching them together into a bracelet. But anyways, again, you're going to look at them, make sure that they have the same sort of color organization. And I'm just going to focus on this one right now. So you're going to see there's a specific white loop on the top, specific one on the bottom, and a specific one on the right and left. If you look at it this way, again with the 3 pairs on the top, 3 pairs on the bottom, you get what I'm saying. So you're going to find the one on the far left, which is this one right here. You're just going to add your clip to it. Like that, pretty simple. And then you're going to grab another round, and again make sure that it's in the same position as your other one. And then the place where you clip it. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Claire. Look, these are your fries, and I already ate half because you're still filming.
Dad, I'm busy.
Dinner.
I'm busy. Okay.
We'll try to.
The sun's about to set.
We'll try not to eat the rest.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to get in some videos before the sun set today. Anyways, back to my train of thought. So as you can see, this clip is right between a silver cap band and a gold cap band. And on the next round that I'm adding, you will notice that there is also a gold cap band and a silver cap band, but they switched places in comparison to this round. So you're just going to clip that white band that's right in between the middle of them. And again, you're going to have a reference point on the top that you're looking at, making sure that it's also on the top on your other rounds. Hope this is making sense to you guys. You don't have to be as exact as I am. You can just put your little cap bands on randomly if you want. You can just position them randomly. My brother's home. Oh my gosh, I'm getting distracted. He probably wants his room back. Pooh, I better finish soon. Anyways, back on track. I'm just going to keep on moving on, just as I normally have been. Positioning, clip in the same spots that I have been. It's pretty easy once you get the understanding of where your clip is supposed to go. Alrighty tidy. There we go. And there we go. And then, of course, for the ending clip, again, you're going to put it right in between the same bands that you've been putting it right between. And then you're going to put it right between the bands that I said you put it right between. Pretty much the same type of thing when you finish it. So anyways, there's the bracelet version of my lollies. And last but not least, you have the earring version. So for this, you're going to need 2 more white bands and a special thing called an earring wire. And of course, a craft store wouldn't be called a craft store unless they carried these things. You can find them in any craft store anywhere, pretty much. It's just like an earring wire. I think that's what they call them in packages and stuff. You know, you put them in your ear holes, the holes that you get punctured in your ear if you want to wear earrings. I'm explaining this way too much, but yeah. You can get these in big packs, you can get a few of them. Yeah. So I just suggest for this whole project you want to run out to a craft store, grab some jump rings and earring wires, and then come home and do this. So, I think that's enough explaining. For the earrings, like I said earlier, you're going to need 2 rounds. So, for this, it's pretty easy. You're going to establish your top point of your earring, which is, of course, going to be the reference thing that I've been referencing the whole video. This little triangle right here, purple on the left, pink on the right, and then a pink in the middle right underneath it. Just going to put my hook through that white band that's in the middle of all this, and then string a white band through there. And then I'm going to take my earring wire. I'm still pinching onto this so that it doesn't come out, but I don't have it on my hook anymore. Going to take an earring wire, and you're going to find, camera won't really zoom into this, but as you can see, on the underneath half of this little loop here, there's a slight space or a slight gap between these 2 metal pieces, right there. You're just going to sort of stretch this white on so that it snaps through, and then stretch the other half of the white on so it also snaps through. And again, the whites are just stretching so they can fit through this tiny little gap right here. It's easier to see with the naked eye, my camera won't focus on it as much. But yeah, you don't need to like tighten it or anything with pliers, I don't think, unless you want it to be super tight. But I didn't have to like open it up or anything with my pliers before I added the whites on. It should stay pretty well as long as you know, don't purposefully stretch it out of the loop. But anyways, there's 1/2 of my earring. And for the other half, you know how I said one side pops out more than the other? Well, I want the opposite side to pop out than this one right here. So the reference point I've been referencing again all the time in this video, purple on the left, pink on the right, and then a pink in the middle. You're going to want to find that spot in this one right here, and then you're just going to want to flip it so that this side's pointing out instead of the other side. And then, as you can see, the pink is on the left now, the purple is on the right, and of course this pink stays in the same place. So now they're opposites. And you want this, of course, because they're supposed to be earrings, and that's usually how earrings work when it comes to whatever pattern you use. And again, put your hook through the same spot, and then pull your white through it. And you can take your earring wire, flipped it over, now you can see the gap is on the bottom. And when you put your earring wire on, you want to be very careful. You might have to pull on it a little more to get it to snap in. But when you look at your earrings, you're going to want to make sure that the earring wires are facing the same way while you double check to make sure that, oops, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. I apologize. Just going to take these out. But, oops, sorry about my camera. Anyways, what I did wrong was, as you can see, the wrong side's poking out, so I'm just going to press that in more. But when I was adding the earring wire, I think I might have been adding it like this, so then when I flipped it over to the proper side, then, you know, of course, the dots wouldn't be where I wanted them to be. So now when I add this earring wire, I'm going to make sure that this side of the earring wire is facing up, because that's the way it's facing on the other earring. And then I can add the white band on. I hope I explained that well enough. It's kind of a hard thing to explain, but now as you can see, pink's on the left, purple's on the right on this earring, purple's on the left, pink's on the right in this earring, so they mirror each other. Because that's how earrings work, and they just generally look better that way. So yeah, there are your earrings. And now, that is all of the jewelry set I've shown you how to make. I hope you have enjoyed and understood this video. It's kind of a difficult and complex thing. I just tried to explain it as best as I could. So be sure to ask me any questions if you have any in the comments below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!